Thank you, Chancellor. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Bev George, President of the SIUE Alumni Association Board, who will present the Great Teacher Award. Bev?
Thank you. Good morning, Chancellor Vandergrift, Provost Boyle, distinguished members of the Platform Party, SIUE faculty, graduates, family, friends, and fellow SIU alumni. In 1970, the SIU Alumni Association established the Great Teacher Award program to recognize an SIUE faculty member for his or her continuous excellence in teaching. The Great Teacher Award is given to professors who have gone above and beyond the typical classroom lectures. Each recipient has had a tremendous impact on the lives of the students they teach through the use of creative teaching and mentoring. The criteria for the award includes a commitment to excellence and originality in teaching at SIU, superior knowledge of his or her subject matter, original and innovative classroom presentations, and demonstrated concern for students both in and out of the classroom. The recipient of this year's award meets and exceeds these criteria. Dr. Bradley Noble is an associate professor in the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering in the School of Engineering. I am proud to say Brad is also an alumnus of Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville, receiving his Bachelor of Science degree in Electrical Engineering in 1990, his Master of Science degree in Electrical Engineering in 1992. In 2000, he received his Doctorate of Science in Electrical Engineering from Washington University in St. Louis. In his 15 years with SIUE, Dr. Noble has received several recognitions for his innovative and charismatic teaching style. He is also a past recipient of the SIUE Teaching Excellence Award. In addition to his classroom success, Dr. Noble has made significant innovations in portable instrumentation devices that could conceivably be made more widely affordable and available to industry and educators. For example, Dr. Noble collaborated with SIUE Assistant Professor Edward Navarre from the Department of Chemistry to create an instrument prototype that will allow blood samples to be tested for toxic heavy metals like mercury and lead. The portable electrothermal analyzer was showcased at the Southern Illinois University Carbondale Technology and Innovation Expo in the fall of 2010. Dr. Noble also teamed with another SIUE professor, Michael Shaw, to create an inexpensive and portable potentiostat, a device used to investigate chemical reactions related to redo chemistry and other electrochemical phenomena. The highly reduced cost of the invention would make potentiostats available to more than just chemists and those in advanced chemistry studies. It would be accessible to industries in the electrochemical field, such as battery and fuel cell manufacturers, and also to anyone taking a collegiate chemistry course, including freshmen. Noble said, "Teaching is a top priority. However, applying engineering concepts in collaboration with my colleagues in other disciplines to create devices that help the public gives me great satisfaction." Dr. Noble was nominated for the Great Teacher Award by students and colleagues alike. One colleague wrote, "I have been impressed with Brad's ability to turn serious situations into positive learning experiences for our students. This type of teaching builds character and integrity in our students, and in some ways is more important than the delivery of the course content." A recent graduate wrote, "I can say that I could have completed my degree without him, but I cannot say that I would have obtained such a degree of knowledge and problem-solving skills toward engineering without him." Another student provided this recommendation. "I consider Dr. Noble to be a great friend, a great teacher, and role model. I came into the ECE department with very little confidence in myself. Dr. Noble encouraged me and others like me to be confident in our work, and most importantly, he taught that through hard work, anything is possible. Before having Dr. Noble in class, I thought I would be lucky to graduate. Now I am preparing to graduate summa cum laude, and I plan on working toward a master's in electrical engineering. And I can honestly say it would not be possible without Dr. Noble. Please join me in welcoming and congratulating the Great Teacher Award recipient for 2011, Dr. Bradley Noble.
Good morning and congratulations. If you've been paying attention, I am an alumni of here, and I have a question for the audience. Are there any electricians or family members of electricians in the audience? A few? What about family members who are nurses? A few of you? I'm the last of 4 children of an electrician father and original homemaker and then later nurse mother. And I came to SIUE because in order to get through college, I had to work to get through college. And when I was very fortunate that when I was 12 years old, I knew I wanted to be a project engineer for a contractor. And I consider it fortunate because I meet students in college that aren't sure what they want to do. Well, I knew what I wanted to do. And I managed to get a job right out of high school working for Saks Electric in St. Louis as a project manager's assistant. And in doing that, I was able to go to college and work. Well, the nearest college that I could afford was SIUE. My decision to come here originally was just pragmatic. I could afford it, it was nearby, it allowed me to work. And I entered the program, and I had difficulty, but I went through it. And I mentioned some of my background because having taught for a number of years, I've noticed that a lot of students kind of think that professors are hatched. We aren't, we're ordinary. We have regular backgrounds, but my decision to come here was, again, very pragmatic. I wanted to get a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering from an accredited engineering program so I could be a project engineer. And while I was doing my undergraduate degree, the faculty in electrical engineering took an interest in me, and it wasn't just one, it was several, and they kept saying, you know, you really need to think about getting a master's degree. And that was a very difficult decision for me because I had a job lined up. And it was a difficult economy, and I was basically guaranteed employment. And they kept working on me. And I really kind of thought about that, and it made an impression on me that why are these people taking such an interest in me? And I decided to get a master's degree when several of the faculty said, you know, you really got to go on, you have more potential than you realize. And also I noticed that there was some people that were working on their master's part-time. And I thought, well, this might be a good opportunity. So I stayed on and I did my master's degree, and I became a TA, and that helped pay for my graduate studies. And it was when I was a TA here at SIUE that I discovered that to my surprise, I discovered I had an aptitude for teaching. And it was the students and the faculty again that said, you need to go on. Now, I got to tell you, I graduated. I was exactly where you are right now, graduates, 21 years ago. And if you would have gone up to me, if you would have gone back in time and said, hey, one day you're going to be a professor, it would have been the most ridiculous thing you could have told me. I could never have imagined that I would be doing this for a living. You see, when I was finishing up my bachelor's degree, 2 weeks before graduation, there was a project that we had to do in one of my classes. It was a class called Digital Signal Processing. Now, a lot of you have music players, and you can change the bass and the treble and the sound quality, and that uses things called digital signal processing. Well, in 1990, when I was finishing up my last term here, I had a class covering that field, and I had never learned that before, and I really got into the class, and it was fascinating. The final project required to not only design this system, but actually implement it. And the hardware that we had was picky. And we had a TA for the class that was very competent, but he was not able to get the hardware working, and I was really kind of depressed about it, because I really wanted to see this thing work. So I came down here on a Saturday. This is when engineering was in the science building. And I worked from 9 o'clock, and I thought, well, I'll play with this and see what happens. And after a couple hours, I got the hardware working. And I hooked up a CD player, and I hooked up some speakers, and I got this thing that I spent 2 weeks designing working, and it was very tangible because you could hear the effects of it, and I was able to make changes, and I could see what was happening. And for 15 minutes, there was really this big elation that, hey, this thing works, and there it is, and it really solidified a lot of the stuff I've been working on. And then this thought popped in my head, this kind of nagging thought. and I realized I'm graduating in 2 weeks, and I don't feel like I know anything. It was this sense that I have learned more than anything how ignorant I am. I started out engineering, but then as I got into these classes and I learned things, I realized all this other facets of these topics that I didn't know. I knew enough to know I didn't know them. And I was kind of waiting for some transcendent experience that I'm graduated or I will be, and it never happened. It would just matter that that's it. That was my time. It's over. I have a degree. Oh, well, I'm going to graduate school. Over the years, I've talked with other people, other students as a faculty member, students who dropped by my office and basically said a version of, is this it? Is that all there is? It seems like I've just had these classes. This experience, some of you may be sympathetic to what I'm describing because I've seen it a lot. You know more than you perhaps think you do. And by the way, if you think you know more, if you think you've got it all, you're going to be in for an awakening. I'll warn you that. But if you have doubt, you know more than you realize. You see, the thing is, what I've come to realize having taught is that teaching isn't a matter of opening someone's head and pouring in a bunch of facts. It's a way of shaping the way you think about your discipline. And I don't care whether it's art history, English literature, kinesiology, or engineering, or chemistry, or any of the other fields, that there are methods of describing the different facets of the discipline you've chosen. And that's what you've learned. In other words, you've learned how to think about your chosen field of study. Universities don't want clones. We don't want people that graduate thinking identically to everyone else. There is no advancement then. When you get a job, you will be applying what you have learned in your way, with your understanding and your interpretations of the material that you've learned. That's what we've tried to do. And that's what you've achieved at this point. If you have had some kind of a transcendental experience at graduation, that's fantastic. If you haven't, have confidence that you did learn something going through here. You know, when I got hired here, one more thing about my background. When I got hired here in '96, my father, again, electrician, he was out of 649 local in Alton. He said to me one day, he said, you know, back in the 1950s, mid-50s, some representatives from SIU dropped by to talk to the union. And they said, hey, we want to build a campus in Edwardsville. And we'd like your support. We'd like the support of the trades. And we're building this because we want to build a university for your children to go to. And when my dad told me that, it made me realize that to some extent I'm, in a small way, a fulfillment of that idea. Myself and my siblings are the first generation to go to college. I have 2 brothers and a sister. All of us went to college. The other 3 went to Carbondale. I went here. And I got more out of this institution than I had ever imagined going into it. For me, it was a means to an end, to become a project engineer. And again, the faculty took an interest in me. And these are people that are now my colleagues, so the ones that didn't retire. And I have the great pleasure of working with them every day. And what I can say, having seen this, is it is the attention that we provide to the students is what really matters. I represent this year the teaching award winner, but it's beyond that. I couldn't do what I do without the support of my colleagues in my department. It's not me, it's my department. Together we work. I happen to represent it this year. And also the feedback of the students when they drop by and they're stuck. I get a lot of satisfaction out of helping the students that are struggling and then get it than I do by the A students, because A students are going to get A's no matter who they have. But the students that you can help, the students that you can spend time with, make a difference. So anyway, congratulations. It's been a long road. You do know more than you think you do. And best of luck to you.